Hey everyone, welcome back for episode 2 of our series where we see who we can draft in a 10-person PPR league with different starting spots. So before we did pick number 10, now we have pick number 1. So with the first pick we get, in just a normal snake draft, we get the first pick and then we don't get to pick again until spot number 20 and 21. So first pick here is pretty easy. McCaffrey, he's going to carry the Panthers this year. There's really not any competition there with the first pick.
Welcome to the best day of the year.
McCaffrey,
Draft day.
Very easy, number 1 overall pick. So we'll take him, and we won't get to draft again until pick 20. So now that we're around 20, I see that Najee Harris is still on the board. So it's important to get running backs early on in the draft because if you wait till the 4th, 5th round, you're getting running back number 2s on teams. And with Big Ben being questionable, Najee Harris is a great pickup right here. Since we drafted first in the snake draft, we get picks 20 and 21. So right away for pick number 3, we're going to go ahead. Calvin Ridley should carry Atlanta this year for the receiving core. It's a very good wide receiver number 1 to get. Moving on to pick number 4. So far we have 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver. Taking a look at who is still out here. I see that Josh Jacobs is still out here. This will give us some more depth at running back. And then we see that Adam Thielen is still on the board. He's wide receiver number 1 for the Vikings. If Kirk Cousins can get him we can get a lot of points with him in that slot right there. So there's our first 5 picks of the draft. Those are the most important. We're trying to get all running back number 1s, wide receiver number 1s. Moving on to the 6th pick, we have to start thinking about tight ends and quarterbacks, along with seeing if there's any steals at the wide receiver or running back position. But going to start turning our heads towards the tight end position. I would not recommend picking up Waller or Kittle unless you're getting them for a steal early on. Like I said, running backs are extremely important, especially in a PPR league. You need to find a running back that gets a lot of receiving touches. Taking a look at who's still on the board, I see Juju is out here. Did not pick him up in the last draft, but with Juju, you're getting the number 1 wide receiver for Pittsburgh, along with having Najee Harris already on the team. We'll have both a receiving and a running threat.
Quick, make your pick.
So we'll go ahead, pick up Juju with our 6th pick. Now with pick number 7, this is where I'm looking at tight ends. I picked up Kyle Pitts in the last draft. I'm going to do it again. We already have Calvin Ridley. If we get Kyle Pitts, we can get 2 receiving options for Matt Ryan. Now that we're in the 8th round, we're going to go ahead and look, see what running backs, what wide receivers. Is there anyone that we can get for a steal? So what I'm looking at right now is for another wide receiver. I see that DJ Chark is still out here. He's going to be a good wide receiver for Trevor Lawrence. Taking a look at what quarterbacks are left. You can see Tom Brady's still out here, Ryan Tannehill. We end up picking up Ryan Tannehill. He had a really good season last year. He could be top 5 quarterback this year, all depending on production from Derrick Henry and the receiving core. So moving on to pick number 10. We have a quarterback. We have a few really good wide receivers, a few good running backs. We have a solid tight end. And so what I want to do here is pick up. This is where you start picking up some people that are going to be on your bench. They're going to fill in when you have a bye week or for injuries. So still, these picks are important. I like Melvin Gordon possibly because he will get a lot of receiving touches, I think, this year for Denver. He had 198 points last year, but this year, you can see he's projected 150. Projections don't mean a whole lot once the season actually starts, but
quick, make your pick.
Out here, I have to make a pick. I end up going with Marvin Jones. I think he's going to be a solid wide receiver for Trevor Lawrence to pass to. They should be pass heavy this year. And I go ahead and pick up Robert Tonyan again. He got snubbed last year for the Pro Bowl. He had 11 touchdowns, I believe, last year. If you can pick him up in the 10th, 11th round, I think that's a steal for the tight end position for Aaron Rodgers to pass to. Now that we are in the 12th round, going to take a look, see what wide receivers are out there. As you can see, I was already looking at Devontae Parker right there. He will be big for two to throw to, but it's a toss-up because last year I know that Devontae Parker kind of had an up-and-down year. So for this pick, I end up going with Justin Fields. I think he'll end up taking over for Andy Dalton not too far into the season. I mean, it's going to be questionable what he can do with the offensive line for the Bears, but if you can pick him up in a late round, it's not a bad idea. 13th pick, we're just taking a look at some wide receivers, see who can give us some depth. I end up going with Devontae Parker here. I think he's just the best that's available. Hardman is not going to he doesn't
Quick,
get too
make
many
your
touches
pick.
behind Kelsey and Tyreek, so end up going with Devontae Parker here. We'll see if he can have a better year than last year with Tua having another year of experience. They should work better together this year, so I feel good about that pick for the 13th round. Looking at the 14th round, I like to take a risk on a couple of rookies. We have Tooney on the list still. I think I'm saying that right. He's out of Kentucky. I believe he is a very good slot receiver. He had a lot of touchdowns, a lot of yards at Kentucky, so thinking that should translate to the NFL. So I was taking a look at him, running back position. There's not a whole lot once you get back here. Only one that stands out is Pollard for the Cowboys. He gets a lot of touches along with Zeke, so 14th round you can get him. But for the Giants, they don't have too many wide-out receivers, so I feel comfortable taking a risk there with that pick. And once we get to 15th, 16th round, this is where I draft my kicker and defense. I know in the last draft, I went with Sanders, who was the kicker for the Dolphins. Here I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Chiefs score a lot. He's going to get a lot of extra point opportunities. So I went with Butker in this one. And then for defense last time we chose the Bears. I'm just going to choose a new one this year, or this video. I'm going to end up going with the Browns defense here, I think, with the additions that they made, bringing in Clowney for the defensive line, along with having their cornerbacks back healthy. They should have a solid year for defense. Once again, I like to draft my defense week by week. So taking a look at the final lineup, I think for the first overall pick, we have solid lineup here. Definitely a championship contender. We have 3 running back number ones, 3 wide receiver number ones. So we have a lot of depth. And overall, with the first overall pick, this will be a good squad to roll with. Thank you, and watch for the next.